Hi, welcome to Marlene at Home. Today I'd like to talk about the beauty of music in a home. I could talk about this subject for a very long time, and so I hope I don't bore you with all of it. But I was so fortunate to grow up in a home where music abounded. And guess what? My parents weren't even that musical. My dad died when I was very young, so I don't really know anything about his musical background, but I've never heard a lot about it. My mom, I think she told me once she sang in a choir in Philadelphia somewhere for, I think it was either a Christmas or an Easter program when she was in high school. That was about the extent of all I ever knew about my parents musically. But my mother always had music playing in her house. It was either the radio from the moment she got up, or it was a record player in the early years, or big deal when we got a hi-fi stereo and we had records. And so there was always music playing. And here's my mom and I on my wedding day. My mom was not big on TV. We did see some TV, but music, she always liked to have music. And it was a wide variety of music. And so that's really where I've gotten my taste for music, just because I love a wide variety of music too. In my home, in our living room, someone gave us an old converted player piano. And that's how we first, as even toddlers, began to bang away on that piano. Much to my chagrin, in my high school yearbook, where your parents can put in an embarrassing picture, it was me as a, I don't know, maybe 18-month, 2-year-old little girl, standing like this at the piano with my hands up on the keys, but my diaper had fallen down in the back. So my little bottom was showing, and that's in my high school yearbook. And thanks, Mom. But anyway, already at an early age, I was hitting those keys. And so I really appreciated the background that I had from my family. Also, in Paul's home, his Mom Wenzel, was known for her singing around the house all the time. Mom Wenzel wasn't a musician, but she just sang to her heart's content. And all of us talk about how Mom would go around the house singing and cooking, and sometimes I've heard she's even taken the broom and dancing around the house, just so happy with her life, with her family, with her relationship with the Lord. She was just a happy person, and music played a big part in Paul's life as well. And so you don't have to have any big music background to make music an important part of your house. And here's my dear, dear mother-in-law that I loved. Church music, I can't emphasize enough how much of a major part that played in my life. I was in little Sunday school groups, there used to be such a thing as Children's Day in June, and your little Sunday school class would sing or say a little verse, or they used to say, learn a piece, maybe it was a little poem or something. But anyway, from the youngest of ages. Then I was in a children's choir, I was in a teen choir. From the time I went to elementary school, I think chorus started in 3rd grade, so I was in chorus from 3rd to 12th grade. And singing in the car, we could not turn on the ignition without my sister and I starting to sing. And Paul says that's true in his family too, with his sisters. I don't know about the boys, but with the girls. But my mom would always harmonize with us, and I'm sure Paul's sisters did the same. Singing in the car helped time pass quickly on trips. So that was another important part. Here's Mom and Dad with all 8 of their children. Paul is standing to the left of his dad and beside his sister. Paul was number 4 of his family of 4 boys and 4 girls. When I was just in elementary school, my sister and I, and she's 3.5 years younger than I, were asked to sing for our grandmother's Sunday school class. And we were like, uh-oh, what do we do? We know how to sing in the car. We know how to sing funny, silly songs at home. But anyway, we went to the church pianist at my home church, and we called her Aunt Beatty, but she was no relative. And she helped us learn 2-part harmony, soprano and alto. And she helped us with that first song, and we sang, I don't know, there might have been 75 ladies in that class. We sang to them, and they oohed and awed us, and that was the very beginning of us singing together for the rest of our life. Here's a picture of Cindy and I around the same age as when we sang for the first time at church. I was 9 and she was 5.5. Many people like to remind Cindy and I how many years Cindy used to have to stand on a box whenever we sang so that she could reach the microphone at our home church. And many years later, this was Aunt Beatty's piano. It was given to her by her daughter. And when Aunt Beatty was unable to play anymore, I was the lucky person to be gifted with this piano. And so my mom, as I told you, we started with an old player piano that was converted to a regular piano. And then she bought a used grand piano, baby grand piano for our living room that we had most of our life, and my sister has today and still teaches piano lessons on it every week. And so anyway, I always said at my home after we were married, it doesn't feel like a living room without a baby grand piano. So I was very thankful when someone gave me this gift of Aunt Beatty's piano. So I started on piano lessons as a young elementary school-age girl, but then my family, my mom and my sister and I were in a very bad car accident, and us girls moved in with my grandparents, and I had to stop piano lessons. But at school, I could take violin lessons, and so I started playing violin then in 3rd grade and continued through high school. So I've been in choruses all my life, at school, at church, choirs, orchestras, all the way up through and including college. I traveled with some music groups through college. I was in very large choirs. Probably the largest choir I ever sang in was down at the baseball stadium in Baltimore for a Billy Graham crusade a number of years ago, but after my kids were pretty much grown, that was the largest choir I ever sang in, and that was just a thrilling experience. And so I really enjoyed doing that. I just would like to give you ideas of how to introduce children to music if you're not musical. And I've given you some ideas. A lot of the ideas I'll mention were free. All the things I learned at music through my church, whether it be Bible school programs or pioneer clubs, didn't cost my family anything, but I sure learned a lot. Church music, it could be going to county fairs, music things. I grew up near Valley Forge Music Fair, went to some things there. We would always, as a family, go to Ocean City, the Boardwalk Pavilion there, to their summer concerts. That was always very exciting for us. We would go, the other side of my family went to concerts at the Ocean Grove, the huge tabernacle there. And we'd hear things, Christian music, secular music, classical music, just all varieties of music. So learn to expose your kids to all different kinds of music. I really appreciated that growing up. In college, I continued that tradition, used my violin, was a vocalist on a team there were 7 of us, also sang in duets and trios, and then continued that all through my adulthood. My husband was a pastor, and so our ministry in churches. Also, some other special things growing up that affected me concerning music is that my elementary school offered discount subscriptions to go to children's concerts at the Philadelphia Academy of Music every spring and fall. And I was able to go to those and hear Eugene Ormandy lead the Philadelphia Symphonic Orchestra. And that was a very special thing. And I've always loved the Academy of Music, the beauty of the place ever since then. Here's a picture of the Academy of Music in Philadelphia. Going to musicals, whether they would be on the high school stage, I highly recommend those kind of things. They're very inexpensive. Going to someplace like the Academy of Music. Years ago, I took my girls to see White Christmas, the Broadway production, on stage, and they loved that. Then just last year, Century High School did White Christmas as their high school musical. And my daughter and I took our grandsons, and they loved it. And they had snow falling down from the ceiling. And so there's a lot of very inexpensive ways to go to concerts. Tap into musicals, watching musicals on TV, or going to your local library, checking out a musical DVD is another possibility. And Other things I enjoyed being part of an award-winning high school band. I highly recommend band to students. If your school's got a good music program, try to get your kids in. That helps so much with music and with math and with science. Kids that are good at music, it just influences so much of their education. Being part of the Sun Valley High School marching band was one of the highlights of my life. And so I was telling you, my sister and I, we sang everywhere. We sang at nursing homes almost every Sunday afternoon. We sang in prisons to those that were less fortunate than us. We sang at rescue missions where there were families going through very difficult financial times and addictions. We did mother-daughter banquets. We did children's meetings. We just sang, you name it, we sang there, and we really, really enjoyed it. Cindy and I singing at another church. Here's Cindy and I just last year. Cindy's also married to a pastor, and they've served in churches in 3 states, Delaware, California, and for the last 30 years in Alabama. We love any time we can get together and sing. One of my favorite places to sing or play, because Christmas is my favorite season of the year, was Christmas Eve at church. And so I have very fond memories of that as well. Here's one of my favorite photographs of one of the Christmas Eve services that I played at. Here's a close-up with my musician friends. A number of Christmas Eves earlier, my friend Joyce and I asked her younger son and my older daughter to join us in playing. Little did we realize, as close friends, that one day we would all be related, as my daughter married her son. I love when I'm entertaining to have soft, mellow music playing in the background. It's just like my final touch before I open the door to guests, to turn on some really pretty background music for the evening. So I recommend that to you as well. With my girls, one daughter played the piano. Well, they both played the piano, but then one specialized more so in it. The other one later switched to flute. And they enjoyed being in the Carroll County school-wide competitions, county-wide, statewide, things like a STED-Fed, marching band. They also attended music camps. There's a number of different music camps throughout the U.S., or even just regular camps. That's a whole different around the campfire kind of singing and music. So I recommend that. Piano recitals always added a lot. Sometimes my husband was getting a little itchy at all that classical long music, but it was right up my alley. And my girls would be like, "Oh, Dad, come on, you can do this." And so anyway, we've enjoyed watching musicals on TV over the years, DVDs, and some of our favorites were my girls' 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, things like The Sound of Music. Oh, I'll tell you about the first time I ever went to The Sound of Music. A friend of our family took our whole family to this big, fancy theater in Philadelphia. My mother wore her high heels and gloves. Us girls wore our Easter bonnets and gloves and our little purses. And oh, we thought we were Hollywood stars going into this place. I've never seen anything like it since, but that's how we saw our first showing of The Sound of Music. So that was a really special memory for me. So my girls, things like Sound of Music, the Newsies, if you've seen the Newsies, but my boys just as well. Last year we took our little grandsons to the Lion King Jr. that another local high school put on last year, days before Corona shut everything down. That was a wonderful time. So I recommend that as well. Last Christmas, I think I mentioned White Christmas already in the past, but last year we also took the boys over to Century High School, and that was a beautiful rendition of White Christmas that the high school did. And so with grandchildren, we're singing in the car. I'm terrible at memory, and so for me, who likes to learn scripture and memorize Bible verses, I'm just not good at it. But if it's set to music, learning it with my grandkids, it's a lot easier. So music is also a great teaching tool. And so I really recommend things like that. Sight and Sound, probably one of the top premier theaters and musical places in the U.S., is right in the Lancaster area as one of their locations. Now they've been closed a lot since COVID, but they have also gone on TV or online. You can see some of their shows for free. Others you can pay. Their newest one, Esther, we paid $25 as a family and all gathered together and watched it. And so I highly recommend Sight and Sound for a great theater musical experience for your family. So piano lessons, any kind of music lessons, they're hard to do. Practice is difficult, but just try to encourage your child. What's the hardest part you have to learn this week? Let's spend 10 minutes working on it together. Just 10 minutes knocking out a hard section. So maybe 10 minutes today at that hard section, 10 minutes tomorrow at another hard section. Anything you can do to promote music and the arts with our kids is just well worth it. Not sure what musical to start with? Then check out this book, Must-See Musicals, 50 Show-Stopping Movies We Can't Forget. I liked this one, Songs of America by John Meacham and Tim McGraw, Patriotism, Protest, and the Music That Made a Nation. It not only tells some historical information, but the songs that were popular at that time and fit in. There's a music CD included in that book. Not sure how to help your kids with music? Then check this out. Help Your Kids with Music, a unique step-by-step visual guide, and that includes a CD. Kids are always into musicals like Beauty and the Beast, and here's some piano, vocal, and guitar, easy music for beginners for that. Or here's the music from the motion picture Pride and Prejudice, some easy piano music for that. The library has a lot of different instruments, lesson books for instruments. Here's beginning drum set, easy guitar songs, blues guitar, all-in-one adult course for piano. And so come check us out with that too. Each branch has a variety of music. I just wanted to say too, music played an important part in both of my girls getting music scholarships. Next to athletic scholarships, music come in second for giving scholarships. So just some thoughts. Thanks again for joining me. I'm Marlene, the Adult Services Supervisor at the North Carroll branch, and I hope you will add some music to your home. I'm going to end with my grandson, Cohen, playing Amazing Grace. He's 8 years old and just started taking piano this year. Great job, Cohen. So here is my grandson bringing music into my home. Thanks, Cohen, and thanks everybody for joining us at Marlene at Home.